Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of my big canvas journey. Today we are going to be looking at how to treat your acrylic paints like watercolors and how to apply them to canvas like watercolor. But first, my dogs. So my project right now is what's behind me. I've got another big canvas started and there's my messy desk. I'm going to show you what I'm working on right now. The idea has come from this page in my sketchbook. Now this is watercolor on paper, and as you can see it's a really pretty shade of blue. This is phthalo blue, and you can see where when the water dries some of the paint pools up in different areas, and that's how you get these sort of differences of shades of light and dark. And the idea is to take this and apply it to these two canvases here. The trick is getting your acrylic paint to act like watercolor and look like watercolor, but it's acrylic paint on canvas. So one of the things that you do is to apply a watercolor ground. This is called watercolor ground or absorbent ground. You apply it to your canvas and it gives an absorbent layer on the canvas for the paint to kind of soak into, just like it would if it were on paper. It is a little bit different. It's not exactly the same as paper, but it does give you kind of more of the feel of watercolor on paper, even though you're using acrylics on canvas. The other thing that you have to do is thin down your acrylic paint. Payne's Gray, this is a soft body acrylic. And then I thinned it down with pouring medium and a mixture of this flow improver and high flow medium. And the difference between these is that the paint is the thickest one of all of them. The pouring medium is thinner than the paint, but still kind of thick. And then these two are more watery. High flow medium is what you would use if you were airbrushing. So you add this to your paint to get it really watery and thin. And then you also can add a little bit of water, but I don't use a lot of water because then it breaks down the integrity of the paint and you have the risk of it flaking off of the canvas later on. So these are the things I used to mix with my paint to get it to this sort of like watery consistency. For this part, I'm using a really soft brush with natural bristles. It kind of acts like a mop and you're able to load it up with a lot of paint and water and be able to really drench the surface that you're working on. It does a really good job of making like a puddly surface. You don't want a brush that's too firm. Those are mainly used for oil and regular application of acrylic paint. The watercolor ground is just in certain areas on this canvas. I wanted to try and see what it would look like with some areas with the watercolor ground and some areas with just the textured base layer underneath. And you can see this is an area that has the watercolor ground, and you can kind of see that it dries in more of like a uniform area. And this one here is just the textured base layer underneath. And it's kind of cool because the texture comes through and then you have this pooling up in other areas. And then I just applied it very quickly and just left it and let it dry. I didn't tilt the canvas. I didn't, add extra. I just did an application of the paint and left it to dry as it would. And so these are some of the effects that you get. You can see right here, this is another area with the watercolor ground. Anyway, got my work cut out for me. I'm posting quick reels on Instagram as I go. So if you want to follow my process as I'm going, follow me on Instagram at HydeHorch, and I will update here as soon as I can. So thanks. If you have any questions, let me know. Make sure to follow and like. It really, really helps other people find me, so I appreciate it. All right, have fun.